Hey everybody, this is Teresa. I hope you're doing well today. Today I wanted to share a recipe that I actually found on Food Network, and it's salted caramel cheesecake bars. It's going to be delicious. I can't wait. Okay, we're going to start the cheesecake video, and like I said, this is a Pioneer Woman recipe. I've changed it up just a little bit, not much. But we're going to go ahead and spray our foil lined 9x13 with cooking spray really well. And preheat our oven to 350. And now I'll move you over and let's do the crust. Okay, for the crust, we're going to use a food processor. And she called for 2 sleeves of the graham crackers. I have these mini ones, so I have a few extra graham cracker crumbs that I had laying on the side, just in case I need extra, because I'm not sure if these are exactly the same amount as 2 sleeves. I think they are, but it'll still come out regardless. So let me open these and I'll put them in the food processor. The honey flavored graham crackers. So I'm going to put these in the food processor. My food processor is not the greatest. I might have to mix it with a spatula. But I love, and this crust also calls for a half a cup of pecans. And it doesn't call for sugar, but I'm going to add like 2 tablespoons. And it calls for 1 stick of melted butter. I forgot. I'm doing it from the wrong end. I already opened it. And you don't have to bake the crust or anything. You just press it into the bottom of the pan, then put your cheesecake inside. I think I'm going to have to mix some of these and then add the rest. I'm going to add the last pack. I just had to make some room. And I like this recipe because you don't have to use a water bath. And I'm going to put my half cup of pecans and my 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm also going to add a pinch of salt. You always have to have salt, don't you? And we're going to add butter and vanilla next. So let me combine this, and then everything looks really crumbled. So I'm going to pour in my 1 stick of melted butter. And I don't think I'm going to have to add any extra crumbs to this. So get the butter, and you're supposed to add 1½ teaspoons of vanilla, which I love. I think that is so fantastic that you add it in the crust. So that's about 1½ Okay, let's mix this. I'll be back so you don't have to listen to that. I have my pan. I'm going to stir this around, make sure it's moistened. I think that's enough butter. So let's just dump it in. And you could make it go up the sides if you want. Or you can just make it flat to the bottom. So I'm just going to spread it out with a spoon first. Quite a lot of crust. So I'm just going to try to get it as even as I can. And I'm not doing a very good job right now. It's very uneven. And it's packing pretty good. I think it's going to be really good with those pecans. I think I got more on this side. Yeah, I need to move some over. I have the hardest time getting things even like this. I guess because I'm too impatient. So you can see it's quite thick, so you could make it go up the sides if you wanted to. I don't think I'm gonna, well, I might push a little bit actually. I don't know. Let's see how it works out. With the spoon. It's sticking pretty well. It's gonna be thin on the sides though. Oh well, it's falling a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to move you over to my mixer. And I'll tell you a little trick I learned from a lady on YouTube. Actually, her name is Phyllis Stokes. She's one of my favorite YouTubers to watch. And she taught me if you want your cream cheese to soften quickly, you just put it in a bowl of warm water. So that's what I did. So it's really soft. So let's move you over to the mixer. And I'm almost ready. I have to measure one more ingredient. And then we'll be ready just to mix it and done. 3 8-ounce blocks of full-fat cream cheese. Actually, 2 of them are Philadelphia cream cheese and one's an organic one I bought. But they all look nice and creamy. They're really soft. So I'm gonna beat these with 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. I'm gonna mix this first and get it nice and fluffy. Okay, I have it pretty fluffy. So now I'm gonna add the vanilla, which is supposed to be 1.5 teaspoons. I'm probably gonna add 2 because I usually, you know, I have a no-bake cheesecake recipe that's probably my favorite that I haven't shared yet, and it's lemon flavor, and it's just so good. And it's so easy. I just can't get over it. Anyway, let's talk about this cheesecake. So I'm gonna beat in the vanilla. Let's do that now. Okay, now with the mixer on low, I'm gonna add eggs one at a time, and I'll bring you back after that so you don't have to hear the mix. Eggs are added in, and I actually only had extra large eggs, so I'm going to add just a couple of tablespoons of flour. Some people don't like to do that, and some people don't mind, but I want to make sure it sets, and you really can't taste it. I'm not only gonna add 1 tablespoon actually. So let me mix this in. Woo! That was too fast. I better scrape the bowl. I went too fast and I don't want to have flour lumps in it. That's why I'm using the whisk attachment to make it really nice and creamy and smooth. And the next thing we're going to add in is 1/2 cup of sour cream. And we'll mix this in. Okay, I'm going to give the bowl one more scrape down just to make sure I have everything well combined. And this cheesecake has a salted caramel topping. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have any of that flaky sea salt, but I'll just sprinkle some kind of salt. So let's make sure it's all combined. And that looks really good, nice and creamy. So let's move over to the crust and get baking. Give it a final scrape and make sure everything looks okay. Looks nice and creamy. And I flattened the crust a little bit with a measuring cup and pushed it up the sides a little. And hopefully this sets. I think her recipes are usually pretty good and pretty easy. So I need to get one of her cookbooks actually, because I really enjoy her recipes online. Okay, that looks pretty full. So this is going to take a while to bake. The recipe actually says 50 minutes. So I'll bring you back after it comes out of the oven. What I meant to say is I'll bring you back when we go to make the caramel, because that's a very important step. I think my cheesecake's done. It's been baking for about 53 minutes. And as you can see, it looks pretty firm. So the next thing you do is leave your oven door open, turn your oven off, and set your timer for 15 minutes. And then we'll take it out and let it cool. Cheesecake out of the oven. I'm gonna let it cool for about an hour, and then we'll make the caramel sauce. And top it up to a boil, and I'll put my candy thermometer in, and we're just gonna cook this until it reaches 225 degrees. And I'm also gonna add my little bit of salt right now, and just keep stirring so it doesn't burn. And I'll bring you back when I reach 225 degrees. So I'm gonna turn it off and take it off of the heat, and then I'm gonna let it, actually I'm gonna put my vanilla in, and then I'm gonna let it rest for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna put it on top of the cheesecake. Pour this over the cheesecake, and hopefully it'll work out smooth. I'm gonna try to spread it out, and then I'm gonna spread it with an offset spatula. And these are gonna be some sticky dishes to wash. Try to get it all out. And I put this salt in the caramel. I'm gonna garnish it, I think, with pecans. I'm just gonna spread this out as evenly as I can. Oh, I gotta grab some crumbs. That's okay, we'll just cut the edges off. Okay, I think I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. And I'm gonna let this sit out for a couple hours, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator, and then we'll cut it and see what it looks like. I've cut them in squares. My caramel was a little bit sticky. You have to use a hot knife to cut it. And I'm gonna give it a little taste. And remember, I put salt in the caramel, so I just topped it with a pecan because I didn't have flaky sea salt. But the crust, we tasted it, and the caramel's sticky, but the crust is really good with the pecans in it. It's so nutty, and it's got the vanilla in it. Let's see. It's nice and creamy. I mean, if you like caramel and cheesecake, and it's such an easier recipe because you don't have to bake it in a water bath. And you can bake it at 9 by 13, cut it in squares. That crust is really delicious. But that's it for today. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more delicious recipes.